Several miles north of the Great Wall, two mercenaries, William and Pero Tovar, find themselves fleeing from a group of horse-riding bandits. Seeking to mislead their pursuers, they release several horses and manage to stay hidden. As the bandits ride past, unaware of their presence, the duo plans their next move under the cover of darkness. Later that night, as they rest in the desert, Pero reminds William of their mission.
We have to turn back.
To obtain and understand the mysterious substance known as gunpowder. Their quiet moment is interrupted when two of their companions suddenly vanish. Upon investigation, the duo realizes it wasn't a man, but a beast responsible for the attack. The monster charges at them. With no other choice, William and Pero engage in a fight for survival. After a tense struggle, they manage to kill the creature. Curious about their attacker, William suggests taking the beast's severed hand as evidence, hoping to identify what they've encountered. At sunrise, the bandits find their trail again, forcing William and Pero into another chase. The pursuit leads them directly to the Great Wall, an awe-inspiring structure guarded by a massive Chinese army. With no escape and bandits closing in, they dismount and surrender to the soldiers. Inside the fortress, Commander Lin inspects the severed hand they've brought. She speaks both Chinese and English and demands to know where the hand came from. William clarifies it wasn't found but taken after killing the creature. The revelation surprises the soldiers, not because of the beast's existence, but because the attack came earlier than anticipated. Skeptical of their story, Lin challenges William's claim. However, a soldier confirms it by observing green blood on William's sword. Despite the proof, Lin suggests executing the two foreigners. As the commanders debate their fate, alarms blare throughout the fortress. The wall is under attack. The general orders William and Pero to be locked away until the battle ends. On their way to the dungeons, they learn from a guard that the creatures are called Tao Tei, beasts that emerge every 60 years from a meteor crash site. The guard, unable to find the dungeon key, instead takes the duo up to the wall. From atop the wall, William and Pero witness the massive army preparing for battle. Soldiers light fireballs and ready their weapons as the Tao Tei horde approaches from the distance. Archers rain arrows on the advancing creatures, killing many, but thousands of the monstrous beasts remain. The blue-clad soldiers leap from the wall with ropes, striking the beast before being hoisted back up. Despite their efforts, the queen of the Tao Tei arrives, protected by a dome-like shield. She commands her minions to scale the wall, launching an intense assault. The general orders close combat as the creatures begin climbing. The purple-clad soldiers prepare for hand-to-hand battle. Meanwhile, William and Pero realize they'll likely die if they remain prisoners. A young soldier named Pang hesitates, and William encourages him to fight. Pang attacks a beast but is overwhelmed. Suddenly, a stranger frees William and Pero, allowing them to join the fight. William grabs a spear and stabs a Tao Tei, but the resilient creature continues its attack. Pero helps, causing more damage, but it's not enough. The Tao Tei lunges at Pang again, but the young soldier is pulled to safety just in time. William stabs the creature in its mouth, but it still doesn't die. Pero hands him another spear, pushing it deeper into the beast until it weakens. Using a red cloth to distract the creature, William takes a bow and arrow and delivers the final blow, shooting the beast through its eye. Nearby, the stranger who freed them is nearly killed, but Pero rescues him, pulling him out of the way at the last moment. The Queen Tao Tei gives a command, and the remaining beasts retreat, ending the battle. As the dust settles, William and Pero stand among the soldiers, realizing the scale of the threat and the skill required to survive against these relentless monsters. After the battle, Commander Lin and the generals approach William and Pero. They drop their weapons, and the generals acknowledge their bravery. Earning the generals' praise, they are escorted to the barracks to rest. Later, a stranger wakes them up and introduces himself as Ballard. Ballard reveals he came to China 25 years ago in search of the same thing, gunpowder. However, he warns them that finding it and leaving alive are entirely different matters. He shares his experience, highlighting the dangers and challenges of surviving in this land. That evening, William and Pero are invited to a grand banquet in their honor. As they dine, another general questions why William uses a primitive bow despite his exceptional skill. Defending his weapon, William claims it is unmatched in effectiveness. The general challenges him to prove it. Although hesitant, William agrees. He asks Pero to fetch a cup and stand back to back with him. Pero throws the cup into the air, and William fires 3 arrows, suspending the cup mid-air against a column. The room erupts in applause. The next day, Lin shows William the bungee-like device her soldiers used during the battle and challenges him to try it. At first, he refuses, saying he doesn't trust others. But after Lin emphasizes the importance of trust in their army, William reluctantly agrees. As he prepares, Lin explains that her soldiers fight for something greater than themselves, not just for survival. However, William ultimately steps back, stating that staying alive this long was only possible because he trusted no one. Ballard later shows the duo the gunpowder, revealing vast stores of weapons hidden within the Great Wall. He advises that the best time to escape with the gunpowder will be during the chaos of the next battle. His warning hints at something ominous lurking within the wall. During a war meeting, William is asked about a strange black stone he carries in his bag. He explains he found it, and strategist Wang examines it closely, believing it could be of use against the Tao Tei. Curious, William asks about the origin of the creatures. Wang recounts a legend from over 2,000 years ago about a greedy emperor whose selfishness brought ruin to China. A meteor fell, creating a green mountain from which the Tao Tei emerged. Every 60 years, they return to remind humanity of the dangers of unchecked greed. Wang warns that if the creatures breach the wall and reach the capital, they will have an endless food supply. The queen will then spawn thousands more Tao Tei, creating a horde no army could defeat. The stakes are clear. The wall must hold. That night, soldiers discover dead comrades on the wall, their bodies left behind. They realize a lone Tao Tei is hunting on the wall. Lin and the general prepare to fight as the beast approaches, but another sneaks up behind them. A fierce battle ensues. They manage to kill the first beast, but as the second charges, the general sacrifices himself to protect Lin. He kills the creature, but is gravely wounded. The soldiers carry him on a stretcher as his life slips away. With his dying breath, the general names Lin as the new commander of the Nameless Order, entrusting her with leadership. Soldiers pay their respects, lining the wall as they release lanterns into the night sky in a solemn tribute. During the next war council, Wang theorizes that the black stone William carried is a magnet, which might explain why William was able to kill the Tao Tei so effectively. Lin suggests testing the theory, and William proposes capturing a live Tao Tei to confirm its effects. The next morning, a thick fog blankets the mountains as the soldiers prepare for another attack. They coat their spears with a sedative agent, waiting silently for any sign of the Tao Tei. William quietly sneaks away after a soldier is sent on an errand, while Ballard and Pero finalize their escape plan. Unbeknownst to the soldiers, the Tao Tei move undetected in the fog. Suddenly, the creatures launch a surprise attack on the wall. Commander Lin orders the death squad to counter, and they leap into action, slashing the beast with blades that emerge from the walls. Amid the chaos, William hesitates to leave, watching the battle unfold. Ballard urges Pero to abandon the fight, but Pero refuses, insisting they can't leave without William and his unparalleled archery skills. Meanwhile, soldiers manage to pin some Tao Tei, but others break free. One last opportunity remains to capture a beast alive. William returns, instructing the soldiers to wait for the sedative to take effect. Fireballs are launched to isolate one creature, and William descends onto the battlefield, grabbing arrows designed to emit sound to alert others of the beast's approach. He slides down a chain with arrows flying past him, striking the Tao Tei. As the sedated creature is tied up, William fends off an ambush, narrowly surviving with Pero's timely intervention. Together, they kill one of the attacking beasts but realize fire is ineffective against them. Switching tactics, William shoots exploding arrows filled with black powder. The blasts force the beast back, allowing soldiers to recover and transport the captured Tao Tei inside the wall. Later, William regains consciousness while being treated for his injuries. Lin assures him that Pero is safe and asks why he risked his life beyond the wall. William admits it was due to trust, a concept he rarely embraces. Lin notices his hands covered in black powder and warns him of its destructive potential, urging him to forget what he's seen. Later, soldiers surround the captured Tao Tei, holding spears at the ready. Strategist Wang places the magnet stone near the creature, causing its frenzied movements to stop as it becomes docile. The soldiers are astonished by the effect, but Wang's reaction is conflicted. The generals debate what to do next. An imperial order mandates that the Tao Tei be sent to the capital for study. Wang protests, insisting they should investigate it further at the wall, but his objections are overruled. The beast is transported away under heavy guard. As the Tao Tei moves, the soldiers brace for another attack. Meanwhile, Ballard and Pero prepare their escape. Pero questions whether William will betray them, and Ballard admits he's unsure. Together, they retrieve Ballard's hidden stash of black powder. Later, William discovers Ballard and Pero's disappearance and notices a large hole in the wall, revealing their escape plan. At the same time, soldiers descend from the wall into a cavern system, discovering that the Tao Tei have created a tunnel leading toward the capital. Lin convenes a war council, emphasizing the urgency of stopping the Tao Tei before they reach the capital. Desperate, they agree to deploy experimental war balloons, though they've never been tested in battle. It's their only hope to intercept the beasts in time. Meanwhile, Ballard and Pero reach the gates and plant dynamite. When the explosives fail to detonate, Pero investigates, but the delayed explosion sends them both flying back. Hearing the blast, William rushes toward the commotion, accompanied by the young soldier he saved earlier. William finds Ballard and Pero in the weapons room, stealing black powder and preparing to flee. They try to convince him to join their escape, arguing that the wall is doomed. Pero insists there's no point in staying, but William firmly rejects them, choosing to stay and fight. After being betrayed by Ballard, Pero knocks over objects in frustration, leaving William unconscious. Meanwhile, in the capital, the captured Tao Tei is presented to the emperor. His advisors highlight the importance of the magnet discovery, but none of them realize the impending threat. Back at the wall, William is brought before the generals and Lin while shackled. He tries to explain himself, but Lin is furious and unwilling to listen. She declares that if she weren't a general, she'd kill him on the spot. Pang, however, defends William, insisting he's telling the truth. Reluctantly, Lin orders William imprisoned and commands her soldiers to pursue Ballard and Pero. Meanwhile, Ballard betrays Pero, stealing the horses and leaving him behind. At the wall, the experimental war balloons take off into the skies, but many fail. From his cell, William watches the struggle. Conveniently, Lin's balloon works, but the overall plan is deemed a failure. As the Tao Tei advance on the capital, Lin orders William's release, declaring that the world is on the brink of destruction. Freed, William asks where she is and looks toward the sky, spotting her balloon still afloat. The generals inform William that the only hope for survival is killing the queen. Determined, William boards a balloon to join Lin. Pero, still loyal to his friend, also decides to follow. Elsewhere, Ballard is captured by bandits, who discover his stash of black powder. When one of them accidentally drops the powder into the fire, it triggers a massive explosion, decimating the bandits. The soldiers arrive at the capital, met by an overwhelming swarm of Tao Tei. Lin fights valiantly but is knocked to the ground and surrounded. At the last moment, William arrives in his balloon and rescues her. As they float through the city, William holds his spear, fending off the Tao Tei trying to reach them. Wang hands Lin a grenade, which she uses to blow up a pursuing beast. Lin asks William why he's there, given she didn't order his release. William brushes off the question, and they focus on the task at hand. When they spot the queen, it's clear the situation is dire. They land and are escorted to the emperor, who pessimistically declares it's too late. William and Lin argue that killing the queen can still save everyone. They propose using the captured Tao Tei as a Trojan horse to deliver an explosive payload. The team moves through underground canals with the captured beast. Along the way, they are ambushed by Tao Tei but manage to fend them off, though some soldiers are injured. William checks on his injured comrade, who insists he'll survive. As they continue, the young soldier sacrifices himself, detonating an explosive to block the Tao Tei and buy time for the others. Finally reaching their destination, they position the captured Tao Tei with the magnet to ensure it behaves. The beast feeds and moves toward the queen, carrying the explosive payload. William and Lin ascend the tower to get a clear shot at the queen. Wang stays behind with the magnet at the door. Their first shot is deflected by the queen's protective barrier, forcing them to climb higher. The queen spots them and sends her creatures to attack the tower. Wang throws the magnet to Lin, but he's killed immediately after. Lin and William prepare another shot, but it too is deflected. With one last explosive arrow, they make a daring move. The two jump from the collapsing tower, narrowly escaping the creatures. In midair, William throws the magnet, and Lin takes the final shot. The Queen swallows the explosive, attempting to stop its detonation. Her efforts fail as she violently explodes, killing her and causing the remaining Tao Tei to collapse lifelessly without their leader. Back at the wall, William finds Pero shackled. They exchange jokes before William reveals he was offered a choice: black powder or taking Pero home. Pero is shocked when William chooses him. As they leave the wall under escort, William looks back, catching Lin watching him. Pero jokingly asks if William wants to return, but William replies that he doesn't trust Pero to make it home in one piece.